Every wrestling legend follows their own path to fame and glory, but you won't be crowned wrestling royalty without harnessing the power of the Masters to ignite your quest. Your rise to stardom begins at the feet of giants, and the only way to earn a legend's respect is victory. Training with the best is never easy, but wear those bruises with pride. You're going to need all the help you can get to unlock your potential and win the support of legendary wrestling icons. Once they're on your side, those legends become extremely powerful allies. Enlist their help as managers to energize your team. Wield their awesome power moves to tilt the match in your favor and unleash your own brand of mayhem. So, get ready to begin your legendary journey, because it's time for WrestleQuest!
Let's get it. Mike Sempervive here with you for the next hour talking about professional wrestling, which is something we do every single day here on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network. Tune in, iHeart, American Forces Radio, sportsbyline.com, over-the-air affiliates like KMAB, 99 KMSR, and the mightier 1090. Maybe you're listening via podcast or a replay on SiriusXM, or maybe you're video streaming on Twitch and YouTube. However you're joining me today, I'd just like to say thank you. Hopefully, wherever you are, it's sunny outside. If not, hopefully it's sunny inside your mind. Another cool day here on Delmarva. A couple days. It's going to be Christmas. Brian Alvarez will be back. I'm sure he's going to be thrilled about that. A lot to get into today with Filthy Tom Lawler. But I got to send out congratulations. Even though I probably haven't blocked on every social media platform. Ryan in Cumberland, Maryland, congratulations. Your territory is getting some shine. LA Knight is set to be honored by his hometown of Hagerstown, Maryland. It was announced via social media that Knight will be given a key to the city at a special presentation on Saturday, December 23rd. The city of Hagerstown presenting one of its own. Currently one of the most popular superstars in World Wrestling Entertainment, with the key to the city at noon Saturday at University Plaza. The public is invited to attend this recognition ceremony on Saturday as he returns to his hometown to receive this unique and well-deserved honor. Yeah, that was in the press release. Knight was born and went to school in Hagerstown, then moved to Cincinnati to begin his wrestling career after high school, and he currently resides where every professional wrestler resides, in Florida, Orlando, Florida, to be specific. So, congratulations to LA Knight, congratulations to the city of Hagerstown, which is really, other than that, only known for having the Hagerstown Suns minor league baseball team and one of the prisons for the state of Maryland. Them and Jessup, that and Supermax in Baltimore, those were the famous ones. We'll be back, Wrestling Observer Live.
By Chico, excuse me, the twins, and yeah.
Welcome back to the show. Mike Sempervive and Filthy Tom Lawler here with you. We do the show right here for an hour at a time every single day, but if you want us 24/7, you can try to find us on Twitter /X, at Sempervive, at Filthy Tom Lawler, and at Sports Byline USA. As I usually do in this spot, I will remind you that you should make the wrestling news part of your day. Everything you need to know to get your day started, get you up to date, or get you to your favorite wrestling review pod like Dave and Jim Valley will be doing tonight on Wrestling Observer Radio after Dynamite. But each episode of the wrestling news is between 5 and 15 minutes long every day. That's something you can't say about the Wrestling Observer Radio show. You can't. But 365 days a year, we got you covered. No clickbait, speculation, or rumors, just the wrestling news. Get it wherever you find your favorite podcasts or at thewrestlingnews.com and at Wrestling News AV on Facebook and Twitter. Now, yesterday, Filthy Tom Lawler lied to all of us, as he will not be here all of week. He will be departing today once this show is over. He'll be headed to Los Angeles. I thought it was to take in some Thursday night football between New Orleans and the Los Angeles Rams, but I'm wondering now if Filthy Tom has been called in by the Los Angeles Police Department, maybe that crash unit that was in the movie Colors, and you're going to help them track down the stolen Slim Jim fast meat car. Tom?
Mike, as a independent professional wrestler, I have quite a few leads on this case. I'm sure you're familiar with a man who's been trying to garner the attention week after week, year after year of Slim Jim, a man who rules the buttocks, one Warhorse. He's been trying to get that Slim Jim sponsorship for a while. Also, if you remember, just yesterday we spoke off air about comments that Kevin Nash made about Seth Rollins, where he called him the modern-day Macho Man Randy Savage. And perhaps Seth Rollins has now taken it upon himself to get that Slim Jim car. But my biggest hunch as investigative journalist Tom Ace, WWE has recently trademarked a new concept, WWE Speed. And what a perfect tie-in than to have the Slim Jim car stolen and then reappear on the premiere of WWE Speed. Maybe with Thurman Plug at the helm.
It's old Bob Ollie himself. So you're thinking that Nathan Frazier's been going through so much stuff here recently that he has stolen the car and may show up at WWE Fast like that, or Speed, I should say.
Maybe he'll show up in the NXT parking lot as a beatdown is going on, roll up in the Slim Jim vehicle.
Well, for everybody that wonders what the hell we're talking about here, on the front page of the Wrestling Observer newsletter yesterday in the update, it was posted that, quote, Slim Jim announced that their fast meat car featured a WWE Survivor Series event has been stolen. It was last seen in California. The car was headed to Los Angeles for a photo shoot. People with tips are encouraged to contact the LAPD or the Los Angeles Crime Stoppers. This was somebody's angry girlfriend. She caught him cheating and now is responding back everywhere, just bashing him. He's a loser. He's this, he's that. He's got premature issues, his personality or other premature issues. And she stole this car and pulled it right up into the front of his house, didn't she?
There's an awful lot of talk about fast meat tips, personal relationships, personal issues here, Mike. You kind of lost me somewhere along the way. I'll be honest.
That's all right. There was no real other way to kind of end that segment other than something like that. So we shall now move on to Charlotte Flair, who unfortunately is injured right now, but fortunately for her, she has re-signed with WWE. According to Fightful Select, on Tuesday, Charlotte agreed to a contract extension with WWE. According to Fightful, this deal was agreed upon before Dominic and Rey Mysterio re-signed with the company, so that makes it one of the first extensions of the TKO merger. They said it was, quote, a huge money increase and one of the highest paid deals to a woman in WWE history, end quote. Flair recently suffered a torn ACL, torn MCL, and meniscus in a match that took place on SmackDown on December 8th against Asuka, I believe. Was it Io? No, it was Asuka.
Yes, it was Asuka.
So she's going to be out, obviously, for quite some time. But, Tom, that type of knee injury is, that's used to be career-ending no matter what sport you were in. Obviously, with the great technological and medical advancements we've made, plus just the birth of Dr. James Andrews down there at the Birmingham Orthopedic Center down there. Things are much better than they were, but it seems as if, because it's been hinted, a lot of talk about 9 months at least she'll be out. Like, it sounds like that's going to truly be at least. There have been multiple people that have indicated to me that this could be well up to a year, maybe even longer.
Mike, I myself, in my right knee, have a cadaver ACL. I had to have a complete knee reconstruction, ACL, MCL, meniscus, after a UFC fight in 2013 in Sweden, in which I tore that knee in the first, well, I didn't tear it. My opponent tore my knee in the first 2 minutes with a throw, and I came back on one leg to win via submission, one of the proudest moments of my career. But unfortunately, I was on the shelf for 2 years after that. I suffered another injury as I was on the comeback trail about a year later. So there have been a lot of advancements in this sort of surgery. Obviously, the rehab protocols have gotten better as time has gone by. But I wouldn't be surprised if a year from now we're looking at Charlotte making her big return on the stage at the Royal Rumble. But, for the next, what do they say, 5 years, even if Charlotte has a bad wooing, she's still going to be the queen of the WWE.
I'm going to call Stephen P. New and sue you for doing that. CJ Perry has also been on the injured reserve. You can't call it the disabled list anymore. I got to take the DL out of my vernacular. You're not supposed to say that anymore. It's the injured reserve list. So CJ Perry has been on that, and she's commented for the first time since being rushed into emergency surgery on Monday due to an infection in her right hand and arm. Perry revealed what caused the issue on her Instagram, saying, quote, "I've been in the hospital since Saturday fighting a fatal infection that came from getting a small splinter backstage at work this past Wednesday. Please keep me in your prayers, and everyone really take care of any cuts you get, as a small splinter can turn into a deadly infection. Love all of you guys, and thank you to everyone who has reached out," end quote. Perry first revealed the issue on Saturday when she was pulled from her scheduled appearances in CMLL last Friday night and Saturday on Collision. Thankfully, I guess, in the midst of you stealing all of the catering as you were entitled to for everything that company has done to you, Filthy, you didn't pick up any injuries back there, any splinters, or you get too close to Jon Moxley, you don't know what you're going to pick up.
Yeah, the wrestling ring is a dangerous, dangerous place, especially with these maniacs floating around in AEW. And I don't know if she picked that up in the ring as she was ringside. I don't know where this happened, but the photo evidence that she provided, just terrible. Horrendous. Horrific. One of the worst infections I've ever seen. I read this and I thought, okay, it's a finger infection. How bad could this be?
Exactly, yeah.
Good golly.
Just absolutely grotesque. And you can see why, because at first it's it could have been fatal.
Yeah, her finger looked like Grimace on his dying days.
It's horrible, but at least everything seems to hopefully be working themselves out. Hopefully the antibiotics working through CJ Perry so she can get out of that hospital and back on TV as fast as possible. We're going to get through this break as fast as possible as well, too, and come back from Wrestling Observer Live.
Yeah, I mean, in 2018, 2019, I was at the lowest point in my life. My addiction was in full force. I didn't leave my apartment. I was drinking all day from sun up to sundown, and I never thought that I'd be back in professional wrestling. I thought that I was just going to keep existing a miserable existence like I was, staring out my apartment window at the sun setting every day as I just drank myself to death. And, you know, I guess the light bulb went off, and I think wrestling was a big part of how I got sober. You know, I always, my first love in life has always been professional wrestling. From the time I was going to shows at Madison Square Garden as a very young kid. And you know, there came a moment where I actually believed if I got back on track, I could make it back into the world of professional wrestling and make it to the top of the world of professional wrestling. And I really believe that in my heart. I know a lot of people, they say things like, I believe I'm going to be the man, or I believe I'm going to be the world champion, but you could tell when you look in their eyes, they don't actually believe it. I really believed it. I thought, if I can get back on track, I am going to make it back to the top of professional wrestling. And now I'm AEW World Tag Team Champion, sitting at this table as one of the top guys in you know, AEW, and I would say that that's the top of the professional wrestling world. So I did exactly what I thought I would do.
And Bill, that is unbelievable. That is unbelievable, and I am really proud to say that AEW's been a part of this, but really what you've done on your own, and it's amazing the journey you've been on. That was an incredible story, and your story is incredible. And something else that I find incredible when you told me this is that this championship, this AEW World Tag Team Championship that you hold with Ricky Starks, that you, Big Bill, this is the first championship you have ever held at any level of professional wrestling. That is astonishing, and the fact that you've come so far and from where you came back from, it's pretty amazing.
Back on the show, Mike Sempervive and Filthy Tom Lawler here with you, Wrestling Observer Live on a Wednesday. Are you tired of hearing about wrestlers who are all busted up and broken up and suffering maladies? Well, tough. Xavier Woods is dealing with an injury right now. PW Insider reported on Tuesday that Woods is banged up and has been taken off the road to heal up, with the report noting that Woods is in Birmingham, which was in Birmingham a few weeks ago, which is the home of the Andrews Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center. The extent of his injuries is not known, nor is the length of time that he might be off the road, although he has been pulled from advertisements for this next week's post-Christmas live event tour. There was an angle on Raw where Kofi Kingston was playing Santa Claus, or Kofi Claus it is, and that led to him being attacked by Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci after he presented them Cole earlier on in the night. Jey Uso ran out, made the save, and then wrestled Kaiser in a one-on-one match, which Jey Uso won. Woods last competed in Tag Team Turmoil on November 27th. There is no live Raw next week, as they are going with a best-of show on both Raw and SmackDown next week, so he'll have some time to maybe heal up a little bit. we'll see if he is able to come back, if the New Day and Imperium is going to be one of the battles that Kaiser and Vinci are going to be fighting on behalf of getting back into Gunther's good graces. So there's that. There's also Rey Fenix being pulled from the Prestige Wrestling show. On Tuesday, they announced that he will be replaced by Lio Rush for their January 5th show in Portland. The event now is made official, Rush against Samurai del Sol. So I guess this really isn't that big of a surprise considering that Phoenix has been out of action since October. His last match was the one on October 10th, Title Tuesday, where he wrestled Orange Cassidy and dropped the belt there. He was not supposed to win that title as he defeated Jon Moxley for it during the Grand Slam show, which Moxley was knocked loopy on, and then Phoenix came out of that match with an injury as well, or at least suffering worse from an injury that he said he had been suffering with for a while. So dudes are just falling all over the place here, Tom.
Well, that is one of the downsides to this sort of action-packed style. And another thing is that
Stardom.
Yeah. The general size of the wrestlers also being smaller, is going to lend to it just being harder to recover. You have less padding, you have less muscle to protect you on the bumps. So when you're out there giving it your all and driving your neck and spine into the mat, driving your opponent's head, neck, and spine into the mat repeatedly, over and over, kicking out, doing it once again in a short time frame, and then getting on an airplane and flying across the country and doing it again another day later, you're bound to have these sort of injuries. And I remember Phoenix being roughed up coming out of that Moxley match, and it never let down, until he lost that title. So hopefully all these guys get better, but it's part of the business, unfortunately. Luckily for each of them, it doesn't sound as if it's anything too serious, and everybody will be back and better than ever.
Tom, you're an old school kind of guy. You liked old school wrestling. You've had a lot of people from the old school give you advice and talk to you, and that you have surely conferenced with over time. Not only wrestlers, but people who are managers, agents, performed other tasks in the business. It still amazes me, and to me, it's just got to be just bitterness and jealousy when there's somebody that complains about guaranteed money nowadays, and there's somebody that complains about, because I can understand not wanting, giving vacation time when you need guys on a roster or something like that, being too liberal with your time off and with, kowtowing down towards people's personal needs. I can see how for the old heads that can be a little bit grating sometimes, but guaranteed money in this day and age, this is why. Charlotte Flair is why. Kenny Omega, all of these guys. That's the reason why. Does it ever... Have you, I don't know, I don't even know what I'm asking you here. It drives me nuts when I hear that, because I heard that off an old podcast not all that long ago, people complaining as if these guys still should get paid on the house or something like that. And it's like, we're in a different era here. And unfortunately for you guys, you didn't have the support from your companies, that you should have. And when you got hurt, even if it was, killing yourself for the business, you still didn't get paid because that's how it was. But my God, I don't know. I don't know. But what's the worst advice? What's the worst thing, without calling out anybody by name, some of the worst stuff that you've heard from old heads who may have honestly been trying to help and give you some new advice and give you some nuggets of knowledge there, but ultimately in this day and age, they're worthless?
Well, much, I guess, to my benefit, Mike, a lot of those guys are just no longer around anymore. They've kind of been weeded out as time went by. When I first began wrestling in 2005, the independent scene was littered with guys who had been jobbers on WCW Saturday Night a few times and were in the locker room not wanting to give anything. They were the no quarter catch crew backstage. You got no offense in. They didn't want you to get over. They didn't want you to take their spot.
That
But
doesn't work for me,
nowadays,
brother.
Nowadays, it's a kind of a stark contrast to that, and it seems as if most people they at least realize that rising tides raise all ships. You know what I mean? People are very happy to see other wrestlers get big money contracts. People are happy to see their friends have great matches and come out uninjured, and it's a benefit to pro wrestling. It's a lot better, world than it was 15, 20 years ago.
So
where
nobody
you owed pro wrestling something. No. Let's get that idea out of there. Sure. There's a lot of great stuff that can come from your life from being involved in pro wrestling. Some of my best friends come from professional wrestling. Some of my finest moments have come from professional wrestling. Some of my greatest memories will, for the rest of my life, come from this. But at the end of the day, I don't know pro wrestling anything. My kids, everybody's kids, they're not going to eat on legacy. They're going to eat off what's brought to the table and what's in the bank. And that is what's most important. And that's what you should be doing as a professional wrestler.
So nobody ever said, you're an old UFC guy. You shouldn't be putting these guys over like that. Nobody ever told you that. Stiff somebody out there, let them know that you're there.
I hear it on the message board. You shouldn't lose to this guy. You shouldn't lose to that guy. Just wait. I let everybody know I'm waiting my time. When I get my big shot, that's when I'm going Ricky Dozan style. And I'm going for the kill. Shot straight to the genitals of the biggest star I can find. And then I'm taking that title home with me.
Just don't go out the way that Rikidozan did. I mentioned Kenny Omega, AEW Dynamite is tonight. Never have mentioned on this show, since it happened after we went off the air on Friday, that Kenny Omega is going to be out of action indefinitely with a bout of diverticulitis. He was in so much pain that he believed he was suffering from another hernia, and it ended up being this instead. He was supposed to team with Chris Jericho against Ricky Starks and Big Bill on December 30th at World's End. Diverticulitis. So when the bulging pouches in your colon become inflamed. I have never had this happen. My brother suffered from a bout of diverticulitis, and considering that he likes steak and things like that, it was quite the painful transition to fix his diet and everything. Just brutal, I guess. I don't know if that was could be blamed for why the promo was so bad with he and Jericho to Starks and Bill, but he's going to be out for a little while. Tom, have you ever suffered from that affliction?
No, but is your brother some sort of super athlete? Because
in the Air Force and all that sort of was at one time. He's retired now. But, he suffered from a couple years ago. And I remember him going through the process, having to drink the stuff before the colonoscopy and all. He was just miserable. Couldn't eat seeds and sunflower seeds and stuff like that anymore. It was very annoying. Yeah,
it sounds terrible, but it seems like the only people I ever hear of getting it are people who are, pretty bad guys in their own right. Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Right. Most famously, Brock Lesnar. Then we had Davey Boy Smith. Not
Jr.
too long ago. Right. Now Kenny Omega. Who's next? Who's going to be on the Mount Rushmore of diverticulitis?
The diverticulitis Mount Rushmore. AEW Dynamite tonight on TBS. Tony Schiavone has revealed on today's AEW Control Center that Jim Ross is going to be at the show. It's in Oklahoma City at the Paycom Center. Ross has not been on AEW programming since November. The 71-year-old has been dealing with an open leg wound since undergoing radiation treatment for skin cancer in 2021. His doctors believe that high blood sugar and frequent flying on airplanes may have prevented his wound from healing properly, so he's going to be back tonight. AEW has also announced that they're partnering with Jazzwares for the Holiday Bash edition of Dynamite. The two companies have announced that more than $1 million worth of toys will be donated to Toys for Tots. Coming up tonight on the show, Continental Classic Gold League matches. Jon Moxley against Jay White. Swerve Strickland against Roosh. Mark Briscoe against Jay Lethal. Winner gets a shot at Tony Storm's AEW World Women's title at World's End. Saraya against Riho. Roderick Strong against Commander. And we'll also hear from MJF and Samoa Joe. Y'all know what time it is. The world famous NXT review when we get back. Wrestling Observer Live.
Welcome to the special tour of Figure 4 Weekly Headquarters, as promised. Today I will be accompanied by my assistant Vincenzo, so let's get moving. Hey, don't worry about it. Today's a special day, I'll drive. Vince, today's gonna be a good day, so let's not F anything up, okay? Now, I'd like to tell everybody, I just want to give a short speech on the way to the compound here today, and that is that we are going through very tough economic times right now. Right, Vince? It's a time of stock market crashing, the yen is devalued, a time of woe and want. And many of you watching this right now, for all I know, are unemployed. But the good thing is, and I always like to look on the bright side, as Vince is well aware, the good news is that for every dark cloud, there is a silver lining. And the silver lining is that Figure 4 Weekly is doing great. It's a huge success right now. Subscriptions are up, quality is down, profit margins are skyrocketing, things are going very well. So, the one thing is that I don't want to make it seem like money is everything, because money cannot buy happiness, but what it can buy is enormous houses, and that makes me happy. So, we will be going to see my enormous house, the Figure 4 Weekly compound, and that's where we're heading right now.
Back on the show, Wrestling Observer Live, Mike Sempervive, Filthy Tom Lawler here with you. The NXT review, the world famous NXT review coming up here. Report, more than a review. But Tom, very quickly, MJF is still saying publicly that he is not signed with AEW. In fact, said during an interview with Chris Trina, I believe his name was, on the SI Media podcast, you know, I think fans leak out things that they want to be true, which I thought was a bold thing for any professional wrestler to say in 2023. Says he wants to say in AEW, he was for one day your benefactor, as you beat the hell out of Adam Cole so bad that he said, I'm sick, I can't wrestle you anymore. You got any thoughts on MJF and AEW and Cody and all that stuff?
It would be a shock to me if AEW has not renewed a deal with MJF. He has been the world champion, the essentially one-man tag team champions in ROH, and has been given the lay of the land over the past year. And he's delivered in a lot of ways. A lot of people maybe not happy with some of the title booking scenarios over the past few months, but I think if you look at MJF as an overall performer, obviously he is at the top of the game, and I could not imagine, I just couldn't, no matter what he says, I've got to think he's under a deal. Tony Khan, good guy, seems like a great guy, but you can't put that much trust in somebody, can you? Maybe he did. Maybe MJF's telling the truth, but man, I can't see it.
All he keeps saying is he hasn't lied. He has not said, I'm telling the truth. That is one thing for sure. Another thing is for sure is if he is to leave at any point in his lifetime, he will not be starting off in NXT. And it is time for that review. The show opened with Tiffany Stratton and Fallon Henley. The match was okay for the time that it went, but it didn't go long. Henley reversed a Stratton pin attempt to get the win in 4 minutes. Stratton attacked her afterwards, threw her outside, started smashing her head against the announcer's desk. She then grabbed Fallon by her hair, dragged her to the back, grabbed some plunder, and started plundering before security got to him and broke him up. I would have Tiffany Stratton and Fallon Henley wrestle on every NXT house show. When there's no NXT house shows, have them go to every WWE house show that you can. More than anyone, and they're still very green when it comes to being inside the ring. These two really do feel like the two women that could have the most upside if they moved up to the main roster. And that includes Roxanne Perez, who I worry about, unfortunately, in that system, the way it's gone so far. Trick and Carmelo were in the locker room. Melo apologized for clocking Trick with the belt last week. Trick asked Melo if he saw Ilya attack him. Melo says no, but again says that no one's ever hit him like that except for Ilya. He then asked Trick, what if they made the NXT title match at New Year's Evil a triple threat? He says they could both get revenge on Ilya and one of them could bring home the title. Trick politely sidestepped that, and Melo played himself up as being a supportive friend as the show went to break. They also had another segment a little bit later on, Tom, but Melo made very sure to in every facial, there was not when the camera went away, as Trick went away, it's not like he changed his facial expression or anything. They're really trying to play into Melo's really on Trick's side.
We all can see through this. We can all see where this one's going. But I thought Carmelo did a great job in this role. Trick, super over. And when Carmelo turns, he is going to be a heat magnet to this crowd.
NXT champion Ilya Dragunov then came out to cut an in-ring promo, says he didn't know how he got caught up in all the Trick Mello drama, but said he didn't have that on his 2023 bingo card, which is exactly something I would not think Ilya Dragunov would said. They give way too much dialogue to him, in my opinion. I understand with a lot of people, he doesn't need it, makes him sound unnatural. He then looks back on his year, hypes himself up as the man that the NXT championship deserved, before being interrupted by Ridge Holland, who got in the ring and said he's back in NXT, says that his career has been a series of unfortunate events, accidents, and injuries. They don't say Big E's name, but that's certainly what was inferred in the segment. Ilya asks him if he's asking for a title shot. Ridge says it's only the first chapter for redemption, and he wants to work his way through the locker room. Ilya's like, yeah, whatever. All right, shut up. This segment's gone on for too long. We're going to wrestle tonight. After a commercial break, Trick rolled up on Ilya backstage, demanded to know what he was doing. Ilya says he's the champion. He dictates the rules. Men's breakout tournament first round match, Dion Lennox against Lexis King. Booker T doesn't know much about Lennox, but you can tell he's an athlete from his frame. Vic Joseph says that after King attacked Trey Bearhill last week, all of the competitors wanted King in the tournament, so I guess that's an explanation. Not a very good one, but there you go. Booker T called Lexis King the Drama King, which he's not. That's Kay Slay, R.I.P. Booker's Brooklyn card has now been revoked. Most of it was King selling simple offense from Lennox, body slams, big splashes in the corner, all that sort of stuff. King bailed out. Lennox threw him back in, which led to the finish. He missed a spear into the corner, posted his shoulder, and King followed up with the coronation in about 3 minutes. After the match, Bearhill came out with a chair to chase King off. Then there was a video package. Eddie Thorpe asking Dijak for a Raw Underground match. I'm sorry, just an Underground match. They're bringing it back. A little bit later on, Dijak, with much of the same video that was in the first package, responded in the second package that yes, they are going to have that match next week. Are you excited? Are you wondering if Dabba-Kato's going to show up?
I am pumped up for the return, or I guess maybe the debut of NXT Underground here. We'll see if Eddie Thorpe remembers the days of me beating him up in the TV studio in Port Hueneme on New Japan Strong. We'll see if he can bring some of those skills to the table in this real fight scenario.
That was followed up by Izzy Dame and Kiana James defeating Chase Yu in about 5 minutes. I don't know how many matches that Izzy Dame has had, but it's not enough to be on TV. Heels got the heat on JC for a while until she was able to reach out to Thea, who was distracted at times by her crush, Riley Osborne, who was sitting in the student section. End came when Izzy made a blind tag on Kiana. Then Thea locked on her armbar. The referee pulled her off. Izzy then kicked her in the face and got the pin, much to the chagrin of the very now sad student section. Roxanne Perez is then shown backstage. She's still pissed at Izzy and Kiana. Ariana Grace stands up and says it's not about wins and losses, it's about sportsmanship. Perez then slapped her in the face and said, yes, it is about wins and losses. Hey, Tom, maybe Roxanne should visit you. Slap you in the face. It is about wins and losses, Tom.
Continue on.
Back from break, we have a really ridiculous segment where Andre Chase is attempting to play craps with Bronco Nima and Lucian Price. This was ridiculous. He's on a roll. Of course he is. Duke Hudson thinks he should stop. Long story short, it turns into a double or nothing next week where if Chase and Duke win, they'll double their money that they won. And I guess that's enough to get them out of hock with Tony D'Angelo. And if Bronco and Lucian win, they get a title shot. Why they asked Chase to do that, I don't know. All of a sudden, Adriana comes walking in, full gimmick that she is. She calls Tony, who approves everything. That was that. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. NXT North American title, Dragon Lee had to face one member of the No Quarter Catch crew, but, as Lee Corso always says, not so fast, my friend. As the other three members stepped back to reveal that Charlie Dempsey was going to be the guy Dragon Lee faced, Gallus's music hit. They came out. Joe Coffey said since the bell hasn't rung, the challenge was still open, even though it absolutely was not, and we ended up with a triple threat match. Joe Gacy was under the ring like Hornswoggle. He pulled Coffey underneath, and everything just moved on. Like, that was the whole point of, I guess, this match, was to start something with Gallus and Coffey, I guess. I guess that's what it was, at least, because nobody cared. The match would have been much better as a one-on-one match. It went on for about another minute. Lee hit the Operation Dragon, got the win. Gacy gets out, runs away. The No Quarter Catch crew attacked Lee before Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde made an appearance. LWO, they make the save. Trick Williams was then in the back, complaining to Mello about Ilya accepting the deal with Ridge. Cora Jade against Carmen Petrovic is also another match that they're going to be having next week. Men's breakout first-round match, the second one of the night. Tavion Heights defeats Luca Crisafino in about 3.5 minutes. Jangelo Hancock won a gold at the 2020 Pan Ams, bronze at the 2021 World Championships, went to the 2020 Olympics, which they pointed out was eliminated in the second round. He retired, joined WWE. Big guy, over 6 feet tall, well over 220 pounds. He's got size. He's got a unique look, got the hair going on and everything, and a little bit of charisma. Certainly not scared of the crowd, Tom. What did you think about Tavion Heights, who, out of the 4 guys that they showed, I thought was the most impressive? Other than, obviously Lexus King has been around for a while, but of the other guys they've had in this tournament, I thought he stood out.
Lexus King was clearly, out of the guys that were in this breakout tournament, the most polished of the guys that I saw.
And want to say credit to Brian Pillman for being put in that position with all these young guys, making them, again, short matches and everything, but he's there to also make them look good and be a leader in there.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job, and I think this Lexus King character suits him a lot better than, whatever he had done in the past in AEW and Ring of Honor. D'Angelo Hancock, while he's undoubtedly very green at this stage of the game, he showed a lot of promise. He hit a great running, spinning belly-to-belly as his finish. His strikes leave something to be desired, but hey, that's something he's going to be able to work on, and the fundamentals were there. His match was very simple. He tried to throw the guy. The guy didn't want him to throw him a few times, and then eventually he got rocking and rolling and hit some big suplexes and got the win. And I think he's obviously a top-notch blue chip, gold medal, whatever you want to call it, prospect. And I can't wait to see what he does.
Truly a puppy with big paws, as they used to say. Video package for Lyra Valkyria against Blair Davenport. A great video package. It really is. I don't know if Valkyria is going to get over as a champion or not. I don't know. But a match with Davenport, hopefully, let them go. Let it be really physical. Do something. Davenport can help Valkyria stand out. We'll see if she does. Noam Dar says he's a charitable man during this holiday season. He will grant Josh Briggs a shot at the Heritage Cup. We then got Nikita Lyons beating Tatum Paxley in 3 minutes. Paxley is obviously now weird and stuff. She's got a black feather that she carries with her. Nikita missed a chop on the outside, hit the steps, allowed Paxley to get in a little bit of offense before the inevitable happened, and Lyons kicked her a bunch of times and then hit the splits for the pin. Backstage, Fallon's pissed off, wants to beat up Tiffany. She leaves. The Virgin tells the fornicator that he's happy for him, and then Noam Dar, accepting his challenge, says he and Fallon will be out there to support Josh Briggs, but Briggs says he's got to go it alone, and the Virgin was very upset. Gallus defeated Hank Walker and Tank Ledger in 4 minutes. Joe Coffey came out, so he found his way out from underneath the ring. It was all about Hank and Tank being really inexperienced, especially Tank, and that was pretty much that. As Gallus stood in the ring, Joe Gacy was shown watching from the Chase U section. We then, as I mentioned, got Dijak accepting Eddie Thorpe's challenge, and then we got Ilya Dragunov defeating Ridge Holland. No contest with Ridge Holland there in 11 minutes. We'll talk about it a little bit more coming off the break, Tom, but Holland DDTs Dragunov to the mat. Dragunov sells it like he's seriously injured. Referee checks on him. Out comes the medical staff. Ridge Holland's upset. Dragunov goes to the back. We have drama now leading in to the NXT Championship match, what is supposed to be Ilya Dragunov and Trick Williams at New Year's Evil. We'll be back to put a bow on this thing and get Tom's thoughts on that angle when we get back. Wrestling Observer Live.
Jacob, I do want to ask you, because we were talking about pro wrestling, and one of the best pro wrestling storylines that has been going on, like the last year and a half. You know where I'm going. It's the Bloodline. I want to get your thoughts on what Roman Reigns is doing, the Usos, Solo, you name it.
Man, they've been in there putting in work. I mean, we're talking about 3 years straight with the storyline. But I'm a fan overall. I'm a fan, and the crazy thing is, just because I'm related to them, when I watch, I think I know what's going on. Then they always hit us with that twist. So overall, man, they're doing good. Shout out to the Bloodline. Shout out to Us and them. You know, Fatu's, Anawai's, we're really all one family. But I'm excited. I'm a fan. At the end of the day, I'm like this, though, watching, barbecuing at my house. So it's real good to see, real good to see.
So I'm curious, do you think we're ever going to see Jacob Fatu creep up in that storyline? You think it's happening?
In due time. In due time. I mean, it could be there. It could be anywhere. It could be anywhere. But in due time, man, like I said, leave it in God's hands. And if it happens, it happens. If it don't, I'll still be watching them like this. You know what I'm saying? So overall, very, very proud of my family. Very proud of Solo, what he's done. Very proud of the twins. Very proud of Roman. Just very proud of my family, period. You know, that's it, mate.
What's been your favorite moment for them, whether it be for Roman Reigns, whether it be for the Usos, for Solo?
It was WrestleMania, Saturday and Sunday, to see their main event. You know, when I seen Solo walk out with Roman, like, getting goosebumps, like, just tears in my eyes, man, just seeing the main event. That was the highlight, like, for me, seeing them. Not only that, it happened in California, in L.A., so it was good, man. It was real good. I'm about to cry right now, talking about them right now. But shout out to the boys, though, Us.
Is it easy to stay in touch, obviously being like a big family? Like, are you guys make sure you're on the road, they're on the road?
Absolutely, yeah. Like, you know, they'll tap in, tell me like the do's, the don'ts, you know. But we've always been close, way before wrestling, you know. They was shooting me with a paint gun back in the day, you know. But overall, yeah, man, like, we're really family orientated. We really are. So shout out to Trent, too, Sister Trent over there at TNA. So, yeah, man, we're very family orientated, and there's a reason why the Swan Dynasty has lasted like this, because we really tap in and we function with each other, you know. So, and shout out to all 7 of my kids out there and my beautiful wife. I wrestled with the ring on today. Just trying to throw it out. Trying to get some brownie points right now. It's, so.
I was going to say 7 kids. What is that like, man?
It's a life changer. Keeps me on my toes. That's probably why I'm so light in the ring, So, but overall, man, no, it's been good. It's really been good, and I couldn't be no happier,
Oh my God, I love it. Jacob Fatu, I gotta tell you, I've appreciated chatting with you. You're like the coolest dude. I've been waiting for this interview, so thank you so much. I appreciate you, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Hello.
Mike Sempervive, Filthy Tom Lawler here with you. One more day before Filthy departs for L.A. Well, what'd you think? Dragunov has done this thing plenty of times now where he kind of does a seizing spot, not to the level that Bryan Danielson did it, and certainly he has not been in the position that Bryan Danielson has been in real life, where he had multiple seizures that he hid from people so he could continue to wrestle. But how do you feel about neurological drama being brought into things, and what did you think about the angle last night and how they pulled it off with Holland basically holding Dragunov in a bear hug, Dragunov beating on him, and then essentially Holland falling forward and giving Dragunov a DDT?
I was not a fan of the idea of doing an angle like this, especially we just saw AEW kind of ban this sort of thing. So it's odd to see WWE go in the opposite direction with it. If you're going to do it, I guess Dragunov and Ridge did it about as good as you could have. I think it was relatively safe. It was like the Rampage 911 DDT style move that Holland gave to Dragunov, but whatever happened to just some guys beating the other guy in a wrestling match, just being better than him? You know what I mean?
Or using some nefarious tactics to get out of the match and bang that person up before they go into their match against Trick Williams. Here's the one thing, fans. If they don't pull the camera away, odds are it's a work. If that makes you feel a little bit better. Probably doesn't. Doesn't make me feel good that Filthy Tom Lawler's not going to be here. But Filthy, I thank you for the last 3 days of you coming on here and helping me out, carrying this show. Producer Dom, I want to thank you, I guess. For the little bit of work that you did today. Producer John, thank you as always for the video. And for all of you out there watching and listening right now, thank you, and we shall talk to you again after a while.